Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Gotham. So in this episode of Gotham, we have essentially Selina still trapped in there with Bridget slash Firefly. I will admit, I like how she handled that situation. She did try to talk, obviously she tried to talk to Bridget. I was thinking maybe she'd end up getting to her just like Gallivan's sister, Tabitha. Didn't let that slip. How she got to Gallivan and kind of got him to remember. I thought she was going to do that too. She ended up remembering the fact is that she killed her brothers and burnt them. And Selina's like, okay, not necessarily the memory I was going for, but that means better than nothing. But ended up, trying to use her flamethrower against her, but because of what the suit that she's wearing, it's fireproof, because she's under the impression that she's a fire goddess. And she's like, oh, obviously mortal fire isn't going to work against me. But essentially it's like, okay, I'll be your servant. Like, why would I need a servant? You're a god. You need a servant. Your professor just didn't get to that part of the story yet. So, and she's kind of like, fine. And you see them at the very end of the episode, kind of like, working together to kind of get out of there. But I was kind of surprised at that. I was just like, huh. I mean, you got to give Selina that. She is very quick on her feet, both mentally and just figuratively and literally, is what I was trying to say there. But even though I wasn't saying it nearly as elegantly. Anyway, moving on. Basically, in this episode, we have Bruce coming clean about the whole Selina situation. Basically wants to make it right. So him, Lucius, Jim all head towards Arkham, and they're going to try to break their way in. Essentially, Lucius and Bruce are going in through the front door, but they're going to sneak Jim in. And that whole situation, even the very beginning of it, was just like Strange knows obviously about Jim. I mean, he kind of brings it up later, but like he already knows about Jim and Bruce's connection, so he knows essentially why Bruce is there, and he's holding his hand out, and you kind of see, you're like, oh, what will Bruce do? And Bruce kind of puts on a fake smile, kind of shakes his hand. He's like, well, you might as well. He's like, because like you should give us a tour of the place. He's like, well, typically we don't really give tours. He's like, well, not even to someone, because Wayne Enterprises supplies at least a quarter of your budget. So, and he's like, sure, come in. And so, Mrs. Peabody is leading Lucius around while Strange and Bruce are talking. And to me, my favorite part of that whole situation is Bruce and Hugo talking, because it's basically Hugo bringing up the fact is that, it's a shame that his mom and dad died. Essentially that his father was a great man. He was a good friend of his, how good of friends they were, and how, his beliefs kind of led to his situation, that he was so adamant in his own beliefs that he just wouldn't listen to, because Hugo tried to change his mind, tried to show him like, oh, things should be this way and not be so stuck in his kind of old ways, about, pushing the boundaries of science. They're scientists, and, they're trying to do marvelous things, and it's like, they shouldn't kind of get caught up. I mean, he didn't really say this, but kind of essentially we shouldn't get caught up in like the, nitpicking, like, oh, whether this is right and not, having morals, essentially. He even went as far as being like, the reason why Bruce's mom and dad are dead is because of Bruce's dad. He essentially set up the bullet that ended up killing them. That basically his strong moral beliefs and his unwillingness to back down is what led to them dying. And so he's basically, would you give anything to have your parents back, Bruce? And Bruce said something that really I was like, yeah, you tell him, Bruce. Essentially, was like, yes, I wish my parents weren't dead, and yes, I'd give anything to have them back, but no shape or form would I give up, believe my beliefs, and even to get my parents back, because my dad fought for his beliefs and he died for them. And how, as his son, how can I not, do him proud and do exactly the same thing? Because backing down would only mean that Hugo won. And that whole situation led to a conversation between him and Miss Peabody, which I found very interesting because he's staring at Bruce and she's like, "You like the kid, doesn't you like the boy, don't you?" And he's kind of like, "Yeah, he reminds me of he reminds me of Thomas, my friend." And he's just like, it's almost like how ironic it is. It's like, yeah, that's ironic. That's in a weird way, it's twisted. Obviously, I don't whether he's 100% set on like actually 100% connected to. I don't know if that was 100% his own decision to kill Thomas or to have Thomas killed, but it's very interesting that he just said that. It's just because he looks at Bruce and he sees that person he once considered a friend, a very close friend, and it's just seeing Bruce, just the way he is, the way he holds himself, his morals, he just sees kind of like a younger Thomas sitting in front of him, and it just makes him miss his friend. It's like, well, if you miss your friend so much, maybe you shouldn't have had him killed. It is twisted in a way. It's just kind of like, another part of this episode was the fact is that we ended up finding out that Strange isn't solely working by himself. It just seemed like that was the case to me, but it's like, I mean, I always kind of interpret it as like, oh, the reason why he has, the machinery and the setup he does is because, he got funding for, Arkham Asylum. So he was able to, afford the machinery that way. Took money he was supposed to spend towards the asylum and used it for his research. But then, it turns out he's actually working for someone else. He actually has bosses. There's at least one that we've met this episode. They're never outright called this, but I know this because someone brought up the name before. They were like, oh, it'd be kind of cool if the Court of Owls kind of made an appearance in the show. But someone at the same time was like, but I feel like, because a lot of people don't like Gotham. Personally, I like it. But some people are like, that'd be kind of cool, but it's like, I wouldn't want the quote-unquote Court of Owls storyline kind of wasted on Gotham. Something like that. And I'm not even familiar with what it is, but I can only assume by the mask and everything. Essentially, using context clues, it's a secret society. And it's like, what do they want? So apparently what they want is immortality. That's what they're funding all of this research for that Hugo is doing, because he's supposed to be finding a way to resurrect the dead, but, keeping all their memories intact. But sadly, that hasn't been the case. Everyone that's come back has kind of been a blank slate. Really, he wants to use it as an opportunity he's like, but it's much more interesting this way, because it's like, when people don't come back as themselves, it's like, honestly, you can create their personas. You can kind of, in a sense, he's probably not necessarily looking at it this way. He's probably looking at it from a scientific view of just like, oh, just what we can do and what we can create, like with these personas and memories that we give these people, but someone else could view it as like, oh, create like an army of soldiers. Because he implants them, not only just bringing them back, but he implants them with like stuff from creatures. Because one particular person that came back this episode was Fish Mooney. He was about to give her a new name. He was telling her like she was a war god or something like that, but she's like, no, my name is Fish Mooney, bitch. And ended up fusing her with some kind of fish's DNA. I don't know, because even he doesn't know like why she, out of the countless subjects they've done it to, she's the only one that's retained her memories and knows who she is. And it seems he's also, he kind of brought it up, but we did actually see it this episode, like that she does have a power. Essentially, she kind of has like the moment she touches you, it's kind of like I don't know what the type of word, what the word is for that. It's like a persuasion ability that's activated by touch. The moment she touches you, I guess something excretes from her skin and it's absorbed into yours. And so it kind of probably floods your brain, if you want to think about it scientifically. Very interesting that she would end up with that particular power. And it'd be interesting to see, looking at what next episode is, seeing as it is the season finale, it's like, it'd be kind of interesting to see how everyone feels about Fish coming back. Because Fish and Harvey kind of have a past, obviously. They had their little thing. But especially Penguin finding out that she's still alive, or Butch finding out that she's alive too. So it's very interesting to see that regards. I actually thought she was going to escape this episode, but she really didn't really understand what's happening to her. Her powers are still kind of a mystery to her, so it's understandable that she'd be like, oh, touching someone's arm and just be like not really understanding or knowing what's going on. Because she told that guy to make her a grilled cheese sandwich, and he's like, I don't know why I'm doing it. You asked me to make you one, so I made you one. And also I wanted to bring up something like at the very end of the episode, we got this thing where Jim was basically, I didn't know what they were going to do to him. I was thinking like, okay, so Hugo's about to perform some experiment on him because like we have Harvey as well as the whole GCPD coming down to retrieve them, and it's just like, okay, it's like, what is he about to do? Because he's like, essentially the point is for him to move all the subjects and essentially burn the place to the ground to hide any evidence. And I'm just like, what's he going to do to Jim? And he took the thing off. He put the thing on him and then took it off, poured that serum in there, which is like, don't spill any drop of the serum, which I had two minds about it. Initially, I was like, oh, it looks like milk. And instantly behind my brain, I was like, that looked like semen. I can't help it. My brain went there. That's just how it is. At least I started off with the purest thought, like, oh, that looks like milk. But then I instantly thought semen too. So nevertheless, he ended up using it on that guy, and the one that's kind of got the rubbery face, which instantly I went to, that's Clayface, isn't it? I mean, he's the only person I'm really familiar with that can kind of shape their body. Like, I'm familiar with him to a certain extent. Like, my own experience with Clayface was in, like, I have a vague memory of him in the old Batman cartoon, as well as the Batman cartoon. It was like, it's one of the most recent ones, just simply titled The Batman. In that one, Clayface was originally a cop. He was like actually the only cop that was really all okay with Batman, because his partner, I forgot her name, she was kind of against Batman in the beginning, but eventually she kind of turned to his side. But that particular cop, there was an accident and he basically became Clayface. Basically, if I'm remembering this correctly, I don't know if that's how it is, but Clayface can mold his face obviously to look like other people. Because this is based on the limited knowledge I got also from a Lego Batman game, just because my nephew has them, is that Clayface was originally an actor, and after an accident, that's when he became like that. So either this guy is Clayface, or he's some other character, or he's just some Gotham specific character. It'd be kind of interesting if he were Clayface. I thought that'd be kind of neat, but it's like, I feel like I really wouldn't want him to be Clayface, especially since he doesn't have memories of who he is. So it takes away from him being a villain. It'd be like, oh, Poison Ivy forgetting who she is type of situation. Like, it's not the same thing, but like, that's how I would regard it. So it's like, she can't really be Poison Ivy when she doesn't recognize herself as Poison Ivy necessarily. It's like, she doesn't recognize herself as who she is, which in that situation, just because I brought it up, Poison Ivy's a doctor in the, not doctor, she's not a doctor, but apparently, I don't know what he's going to do with that whole situation. Maybe he's going to use this fake Gordon, because it took him a couple times because he had to kind of clear his voice, trying to mimic Jim's voice. So maybe they're going to use him as a way, like, I feel like they're going to make him do some stuff as Jim and kind of create more havoc like that, which maybe they won't, because it's like, Jim's kind of already been framed enough already, so I don't know if they're going to go straight to framing him again, but they're probably going to use him as a way of getting the GCPD to kind of leave. And at the same time, we have Nigma kind of trying to get information out of Bruce and Lucius. And I do love the fact is Lucius like, oh yeah, this is that guy who framed Detective Gordon, the one with the weird name. And Nigma's like, my name isn't weird. And just kind of being all spiteful and stuff like that. Because he's like, the reason why Doctor Strange gave me this job, because he knew I wouldn't hesitate to kill you. So he's having a little fun in this situation. Finally able to kind of cut loose a little bit, I guess, kind of let that his psychopathic or sociopathic tendencies kind of run wild. But like I said earlier, next week is the season finale, so I'm really curious to see how this whole situation is going down, because it's like, obviously I feel like obviously this is all leading up to the Court of Owls. Like I said, I don't really know that much about them, but obviously this is setting them up to be the main antagonist of at least season 3. But it's like, I'm curious how this whole Hugo Strange situation is, because Strange is kind of a well-known villain in the comic books, I feel like. So it's kind of like, I don't know if that's like, how is he going to come out of this situation and be an antagonist later on? It's like, because I feel like he's going to be dealt with now. So does he get away with it? Like, at very least gets away? Because I doubt he'll be arrested, because I feel like, I don't know, he doesn't seem like one of those villains that would be arrested and then you're done with him type of thing. It's like, I feel like he's one of those villains that gets away. But I don't know about this whole Arkham Asylum, like how the whole facility, what's going to happen to it. I mean, obviously it's going to stay what it is, but it's like, maybe under new management. I don't know. We really just have to wait till next week to see where everything goes. I don't know. I don't even have any theories on the top of my head to really even, fathom anything of throwing anything out there as a possibility. So, but really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.